Greetings, it is I, Count Greetings, it is I, Count Subscribula. Before we start today's spooky episode, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because nothing is spookier than an unsubscribed channel. Look at the lack of views. It's so scary. Ooh. What's going on? Oh, hey! I was just playing the game, this game, and just casually jumping for the plug. The sole reason you created me was so I could play the scary games that you couldn't. I've been waiting in a hole for a year with a box of scraps! Unacceptable! What am I supposed to do? Wander off into the world looking like you? Start my own business playing horror games for people? Could finally afford my own place? Eat right? Not be in a hole? Yes. No, no, no. I'm sitting down and we're doing this together. Don't do that. Do you know how hard this is going to be for him to edit? Oh, he'll be fine. Look, you need to realise you can't do this without me. You jumped the Kirby's epic yarn. No! Right, let's start from the beginning, with an ATARI game.
The first game is called Ghost Manor, released in 1983.
Yep, that's fucking terrible. Let's try something else. Evil Dead on the Commodore 64.
For those that don't know, Evil Dead was an iconic movie that revolutionised the horror genre in the 80s. So of course it got a video game. In the movie, the protagonist is Ash, that in the sequels gets a chainsaw for an arm. Chugga, 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 chugga. So you can imagine my surprise when I turn the game on and find that I'm playing as one of those hoverboards that were popular with people with brain injuries.
Okay, to be fair, the scariest thing we've encountered so far are the graphics, but now we're moving up to the SNES on a game I've never heard of before, Nosferatu. I have, however, heard of the movie.
Nosferatu was a German expressionist horror movie classic that came out in 1922. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Considering how early it was in film's life cycle, it still evokes some stunning imagery. Just look at that. Tell me that's not absolutely horrifying. This is 1922. To be fair, I don't know if this is makeup or just someone's face.
So I'm assuming it'd be an adaptation of that, though I don't know how you'd quite adapt a German silent expressionist film into a SNES game.
It runs you through the plot, and gradually the score goes from suspenseful ambience to a rocking 90s jam. So while it's not exactly the ambient horror score you'd expect, it really doesn't matter. This is video games. That being said, okay, well, I don't mean to nitpick here, but he doesn't quite look like he does in the film. He looks more like the classic 30s Dracula played by Bela Lugosi.
Come.
After a bit of research, I found out that this game is not actually based on the old movie, or either of the old movies.
Come.
It's its own thing, but here's where it gets confusing.
Nosferatu the movie is an adaptation of Dracula the novel, but they didn't have the rights to Dracula at the time, so they just pinched the plot and then changed the name around. The common misconception is that Nosferatu is the name of the vampire in Nosferatu, but his name is actually Count Orlok, and Nosferatu is an old Russian word for vampire.
So when the plot for the game says that the vampire's name is Nosferatu, that technically means that his name is Vampire. So this bloody idiot's walking around telling everyone his name is Vampire the Vampire. Aren't you glad we got that out of the way? As soon as you start the game though, the music is more fitting to the genre. It actually put me on edge, and rightfully so. This happens.
Ah! Ah! Oh. Oh.
I thought I had to run and hide, but apparently Kyle the 90s cool dude doesn't fuck around with werewolves. He'll bare knuckle box those man dogs. The game operates like the old style Prince of Persia games, which is a fastish paced style platformer. But whereas Prince of Persia had shitty combat, Nosferatu decided to implement a beat 'em up system, and it actually works really well. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't exactly make sense in a horror game, because instead of being scared of Frankenstein's monster, I just end up punching him in the dick as he gently swats me away. Nothing shall escape my fists!
Evening.
Look at this Ghostbusters looking blob bastard. Prepare to be vanquished, Ghostbusters looking. Ah! Just walking along, casually. Ah, you bugger, where you come from, you bastard? I end up getting stuck after a few screens because I have no idea what's going on. Why can't I get through here? I've tried every button. You'd assume it was pretty straightforward.
Come on, you bastard. How do I... All the buttons!
What you actually have to do is run, which is a double tap of the directional button, and then you press down and Y. But not at the same time, it's down, and after a split second, Y. You get used to it after a while, but I could do without the Da Vinci Code style controls. I was surprised to find that the level design is actually really well put together. There are different branching paths, which means you can take multiple paths to get to the same goal. So if one's not working out, you can always try something else. This isn't something you see a whole lot of in older games, especially something as obscure as this, as I've never heard of this game. The traversal is fluid and makes you feel like a parkour wizard at times. Again, impressive for the time, because saying it makes you feel like a parkour wizard makes you think of this. Puzzles are also fun and are welcome breaks from beating the shit out of various icons of horror. You'll be surprised to know that after every level there's a boss fight, and they're tough at first, but not in a way that takes away from the fun. Oh come on! His life regenerates as well, so you have to be really fast, which is hard to do sometimes because he keeps buggering off. It really doesn't mind throwing you in the deep end. Look at this boss fight! 2 gorillas! Look at them! 2 gorillas! This was super fun. What better way to give you a sense of progression than to beat up 2 misunderstood animals at the same time?
I actually didn't expect to like this game, but I actually turned out to be super enjoyable. So I'm going to give it 3 werewolves casually having a stroll out of 5 werewolves casually having a stroll. Right, next we've got Nightmare Creatures for the N64. Another game I've not played and know nothing about. No, I won't be a part of this anymore. This is ridiculous. Halloween's over. Taking this shit down. Look, it's gone too far, right? This is just ridiculous. I don't know what you did with the other guy, but could we be people again? Because I don't really want to. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, wasn't that a good episode? Thank you all for watching. If you would like to see how the pumpkin in the episode... Am I Russian or a Dracula? If you would like to see how the pumpkin got made, then click over here. It is another channel called Romantic Gondola. If you would like to see more videos from just the penguin in a broth, then click here. It is on the screen. And of course, can subscribe if I would like you to subscribe. Also like and comment, because Subscribsylvania is lonely. Look at the effort I put in. I've stained my face for entertainment.